Hello everyone. So I thought I would try another relaxed review. Let me know what you think. If it's really annoying, then let me know and I won't do any more. If you happen to like this kind of thing, then also please let me know. It's not always going to be this way though, so don't worry. Today's review is on Tom Ford's Vanille Fatale, and I'm pitting it against a clone house, Rosa Salas Dazzling Vanilla. I know in the past, or quite recently, I've said I'm not interested in clones, but Rosa Salas are kind enough to send me these samples of a few of their things, and I have to say I'm really impressed with some of them, and I really enjoyed Dazzling Vanilla. I'm not that familiar with the Tom Ford because I've only ever smelt it once in a shop, and I remember thinking it was a little suede, like something slightly unusual about it, and it didn't quite grab me. The lovely Lizzie from Rose & Jones has sent me a sample of the Tom Ford Vanille Fatale. So today I'm going to pit the original against the Rosa Salas. So there is the sample that Rosa Salas sent me, and I'm going to put Dazzling Vanilla on my left wrist. I'm also going to put it here. So we have 6 sprays on my left wrist, Dazzling Vanilla. Instantly in the air, it feels like a fruity vanilla, like not tropical fruits, not pineapple or coconut, not quite peach either, but more of a peachy scent, more of a red berries, and the kind of fruits like peach that you can buy in tins with syrup, but it's a light fruity note. It's not really heavy, and you can smell like a combination of iris and vanilla, powdery, soft vanilla, and a little sharp hint of citrus, possibly bergamot. It's got that orangey, lemony but tart scent, so I think it might be bergamot. Smells a tiny bit purple as well, almost like maybe there's a hint of plum or something, but it's light. It's actually quite fresh despite all of that. So that's the opening of Dazzling Vanilla. I do not know the notes. Now we go to the decant that Lizzie sent me. Vanille Fatale, Tom Ford. And we will spray the same amount. So, oh, nothing came out of that one. Nothing came out of that one. There's one, but I missed. 1, 2, that's plenty there, and plenty there. So pretty much used most of that. Now in the air already, Vanille Fatale is heavier. It's really taken over the space. Now when I smell the Tom Ford, it actually smells harsher, which I'm surprised at, The Dazzling Vanilla did not smell harsh at all. Also, just to note, a lot of clones leave this big sticky oily mess on your skin. Dazzling Vanilla has absolutely not done that. You can see it's shiny, but it's not a big oil slick. It's just the same as the Tom Ford. It's shiny, but no oil slick. But I'm surprised that the Tom Ford opens a little harsh. There's a citrus note in here, but it's a little bit like the citrus note in Shalimar from Guerlain, which I find a little harsh and a little bit like a household cleaner type scent. It's almost like a leathery citrus. It's just got like a darkness to it. This feels like there's darker materials here, maybe some patchouli, some suede. Any fruitiness really is just the citrus elements. I'm not getting the pretty fruitiness that I get from Dazzling Vanilla. I can smell the vanilla, but it's not heavy and it's not going icing on a cake. It's not too sweet. To me, this is like a suede, iris, vanilla with a bergamot lemon and some patchouli or something like that. It's improving very quickly. It's much better now already on my skin, this Tom Ford. It's, if anything, reminding me a little bit of Guerlain's Cuir Beluga as well. The Rosa Salas has taken a slightly sour turn on my skin. At the moment, it's actually quite unpleasant. That changed pretty quickly. Sour, almost like stagnant water, which I know is not going to hang around because I've tried this before a couple of times. It's suedey and irisy still, but there's just this unpleasantness about it. The fruitiness has subsided. There's still a hint of citrus giving it a lift, but it's almost like a dirty skin scent in here. Unwashed skin, not BO, but musky, unwashed skin or scalp. It's already improving though. It's a very brief, I think, a very brief interlude of something that's not quite right. Tom Ford is getting better and better. It's almost making me think of coffee, not a heavy black coffee, but just a hint of a white coffee. And some other fruity elements seem to be coming into play. Maybe a lime. It's really nice actually, the Tom Ford now. So it's very interesting how I loved the opening of the Rosa Salas and I didn't particularly like the opening of the Tom Ford. And then they've quickly taken different turns. The Rosa Salas then went a bit sour and unpleasant. And the Tom Ford's getting much nicer. So what I'm going to do now is take you on a walk and we'll explore these fragrances in a little more detail. The Tom Ford is very nice. It's quite a sweet vanilla now, actually. Still not exactly icing sugar frosting, but it is quite sweet, and it still feels a little bit suede and irisy. I also get something that reminds me of something medicinal, maybe even a plaster, or people in the USA would say a band-aid. So I'm not sure if there's some sort of spice in Vanille Fatale, but it feels like there is something that's warming it up. Maybe even a hint of cinnamon, but not too much. Just something warming, a cinnamon or a nutmeg, but nothing sharp, nothing slapping you in the face. Any citrus has pretty much gone, and that's in the first 20 minutes. And it's now all about a sweet, soft, fluffy vanilla cloud. It's not a super unique fragrance. If you have a lot of vanillas, you probably don't need this one. It's not really doing anything particularly crazy at the moment, but it is a very nice scent for sure. The Rosa Salas is slowly losing that sour, sort of dirty muskiness. I can still detect it, but it's not as pronounced at all. It's definitely creeping away, which is good. I'm not entirely sure what that scent is that I'm picking up that I don't like. Something, it's almost metallic. It's reminding me of the note that's in Green Irish Tweed. It's called dihydromercenol, but it's not quite that, but it's that sort of ballpark. Maybe it even is that, but just the way that it's blended with other things has slightly changed its profile. The two fragrances aren't that close at the moment. I wouldn't say that the Rosa Salas is an absolute clone of Tom Ford at this point in time. The Tom Ford is sweet and fluffy with nothing jarring at all. The Rosa Salas is actually slightly more challenging with this slightly strange metallic-ish watery note that I can't pinpoint. It still has prettiness about it. It still has a fluffy iris vanilla scent, but they are different. If you like one, you'll probably like the other, but I wouldn't say that they are out and out copies, or that the Rosa Salas is an out and out copy of the Tom Ford at this point. I feel like the Rosa Salas has retained some of the citrus, whereas the Tom Ford has lost it completely. I think if you were just wearing the Rosa Salas without paying such finite attention to it like I am, you may not really pick up on the sour, dirty note that I'm picking up on. I'm examining both fragrances under a microscope, and that means sometimes you can really pick up on things that otherwise the casual wearer might not notice. Just smelling it again now, the Rosa Salas is definitely improving. So that jarring note, it's only really hanging around for 15 or 20 minutes. I'm now noticing Tom Ford is picking up a different aspect to it. It's a kind of woody, resinous feel that is balancing the sweetness of the vanilla. So Initially I was thinking this is a vanilla fragrance and it's not that exciting, and there wasn't really anything that was balancing out, counteracting the sweetness. But now this clean woodsy resinousness is creeping in, and it does balance the sweetness of the vanilla, because it's not a particularly sweet note. It's not a particularly savoury note either. It's just a non-sweet note, which helps balance that vanilla sweetness. It's actually really, really beautiful, and I'm so grateful that Lizzie sent me a decant, because I kind of dismissed it from first sniff. It just goes to show that we should never judge a perfume based on one sniff of the top notes or one wearing. Squirrel. A further update on the Tom Ford. I feel like there is a fruitiness coming in now. It's a little bit like an apricot, but it's not quite syrupy, and it's not like a dried fruit. It's somewhere in between, and it's really pleasant. There's a lovely fuzzy muskiness. Everything's so finitely balanced. It's a really beautiful fragrance actually. Now let's have a little sniff of the Rosa Salas. This has now definitely lost anything that I didn't like. That dodgy note has gone. I can smell a hint of woods, a hint of musk. This is also fluffy. It's clean. It also has a hint of something fruity as well, but not quite the same. It's much less pronounced. It's very beautiful. They are not identical, but they seem to be they're giving me the same notes, but in different proportions and different qualities to them. And I'm not saying one's better quality than the other, I just mean the fluffiness is slightly different in each of them. The vanilla is slightly different in each of them. The Tom Ford, I don't know if I'm being influenced by the knowledge that it's a more expensive one, but it does smell to me better. Not that the Rosa Salas smells bad. I think I just enjoy the balance. Actually, the Tom Ford's reminding me of Whispers in the Library a little bit now, but a softer version, not weaker, but more blurred edges, softer, fluffier, cleaner. Whereas Whispers in the Library is actually got a heaviness to it. It's more of a wintry kind of fragrance. This could be worn on warmer days, the Tom Ford. I'm gonna turn around and start walking back now. They are both absolutely beautiful. Vanilla, woods, musky, with some complexities that I can't necessarily pinpoint. They're both really nice. There's a hint of something fresher in the Tom Ford. It's not a citrus, I don't think, but there's something almost like a crisp musk or something, giving it a little lift, making it a little fresher. And there's something a little heavier in the Rosa Salas, something a bit more weighty. So the Rosa Salas would be more of a cold weather kind of fragrance. The Tom Ford is just that little brighter and fresher and could work on the warmer days. The Tom Ford is less heavy on the powder. There is powder, but it's less heavy on the powder. The Rosa Salas has a thicker, heavier, powdery nature. Also, the Rosa Salas is just a touch sweeter. So it's a bit sweeter, a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier on the powder. Please do take this video as first impressions. I've only been wearing the fragrances for about an hour and a half. So it's not by any means a full review. Hopefully just something to give you an idea. In my opinion, my preference is for the Tom Ford. It's just more finely, subtly black balanced. I like the lightness of it, the balance between the woods, the fresher notes, the vanilla. The Rosa Salas is a very nice vanilla. It's a lot cheaper than the Tom Ford. And if you're in the market for a vanilla fragrance and you're on a budget, it's well worth your attention. You can get affordable samples from Rosa Salas as well, so you don't have to commit to a full bottle. You can test it out for yourself, see what you think. Final thoughts on the Rosa Salas. I've noticed it's got a deeper, darker edge to it now. Not an edge, depth. It's got another layer. Something that's, I'm not sure if it's a saffron or maybe even something a touch oudi or patchouli like, just something darker, a rich, deep layer that's coming through. So there's still more going on, but I really need to get home, get ready for my night shift. So that's me checking out. Thank you so much for watching. See you in another video.